Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're here to answer some sort of vague viewer questions we've had as our membership has grown, besides people we personally know from church.
Yes, we've now been doing this for over 5 years. We've gotten over 700 subscribers, and some of them are not as old as have not been around as long as others, and as a result, not everybody knows us as well as they might like.
So, I have written down a couple questions that people have in general asked about, so that we can answer it for people about us.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right, so question number 1. How do we know each other? Well, let's actually, I like to start off with introductions.
Okay.
My name's Nate. I am a convert to Catholicism. I've been a Catholic now since Easter of 2005, so about 17 years. I'm married to this lovely lady right here next to me, who will introduce herself in a moment. And I met Mike just a little under 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So you are?
I'm Jessica. I mean, what do you just introduced me as your wife, and now you're asking who I am?
I figured I should find out at some point in time.
Oh, okay. I am not a convert to the faith, as seen by the episode during a Volent in which we all got a little stir-crazy at the end, and I pointed out, instead of telling my story, I stated I was the gooder Catholic, and then we did the end where I did Vogue dancing because the children find that super annoying.
Now,
I am married to Nate.
despite their youthful appearance, it is important to note that Nate and Jessica have been married for
Just under 21 years at this point.
just under 21 years. Their marriage can almost drink.
Almost.
Legally, anyway.
We might have to do I don't know. Now that I think about it, we might have to do something special for this anniversary. given that it'll be old enough to drink.
You're just trying to get me to let you buy a 21-year-old scotch, aren't you?
What?
Now that you mentioned it.
Well, since you suggested it.
I wouldn't suggest it if it wasn't worth doing. I mean...
All right, 21-year-old Macallan it is. Here we go.
Anyway.
And I'm Mike. Like Jess, I am a cradle Catholic, but unlike her, I was never a gooder Catholic growing up. I was the absolute stereotype of the modern church. I had been sacramentalized but never evangelized until Lent of 2012, so just over 10 years ago, when the Lord finally got through to me, smacking me on the back of the head with that old 2x4 of truth. And I've spent the last 10 years falling more and more in love with him and trying to live out the faith. Sometimes successfully, sometimes not.
So the follow-up question to that is, how did we meet? And Jess and I met in college right before I got kicked out of college. So that was an interesting time in my life. Mike met Jess through a Bible study that Father was doing. And at the time, I was really dealing with some heavy losses in my life, and she felt I needed something to get me out of my funk, and the best solution she had at one moment was I needed to get into the Knights, and this guy is a Knight.
And I was new, so they figured you should be membership director. What? What sense does that make?
It was the fact that you were young and you could get through to the kids.
Yeah, clearly.
But Mike and I met after church one Sunday when the Knights were doing one of their membership drives. Mm-hmm. I almost immediately thereafter joined. Almost. It took about a month or so to really process it all.
There's paperwork and whatnot.
It was paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
But I then joined the Knights, and Mike and I became fast friends.
We have quite a rapport. Many things in common.
Like your love of hats?
Like our love of hats.
Love of hats, disdain for shaving, all kinds of things.
Uh-huh. Oh, I hate shaving.
It's the worst.
Shaving is for chumps.
You never see a clean shaven Jesus. I'm just saying.
Anyways, so that's for the most part how we met. We became
That's a short version.
Yeah, he and I became friends. We started hanging out. He started hanging out with me and my family, and we all kind of sort of became a found family.
And one of the things that really connected all of us was we really enjoy talking about the faith.
Yes.
I have lots of friends who I love dearly, but they're not Catholic and they're not terribly interested in being Catholic. They don't want to talk about churchy stuff or religiously purposes.
No. We tried getting together once for dinner, and we had such a good time with it that we started getting together for dinner at least once a month. Mm-hmm. And we would have dinner, usually something of the Tex-Mex variety, something Southwestern.
Taco Tuesdays.
And we would go and watch movies. Mm-hmm. And during the movies, we would mostly just sit there and talk about the faith, because we love talking about the faith. And movies made an excellent opportunity to go and point out all the things that they did wrong. Like every single time you see somebody in a movie going to confession. It's right if it was like not at all in the time period in which it's taking place.
Yeah. Well, some people don't think that the faith changes over time.
Funny that.
Yeah. They should.
Some people think it doesn't change over time. Other people think it doesn't change enough.
All of us need to have a better understanding of John Henry Newman's essay on the development of Christian doctrine.
Anyways, that's kind of how getting into the next question of how do we start the show. We were getting together. We were having dinner, essentially little dinner parties.
It's this one's fault.
It's her fault. It is all her fault. Someday when somebody is cursing the name of the Popish plot, we'll be like, she did it.
See, the guys were talking about getting together and doing a show and discussing these things. Meanwhile, hanging out with the various ladies about, the church, they do things like, quick, my brother, who's also new to the faith, wants to know what the Stations of the Cross are and the history and how you do them. I'm texting him, can you do it in 140 characters? And I'm like, this is a lot of work. What if I just could send you links to things?
Mm-hmm. So Nate and I would still be in the basement, still having a great time, coming up with many, many ideas.
We had come up with this idea for a thing that we should do. We weren't sure if it should be a podcast or a YouTube channel or what, but it was going to be something where we were going to talk about churchy things that we're going to talk about churchy stuff, religiously purposes, and our thoughts on those things. But we said, we shouldn't go and do this unless we know that this is something God wants us to do. So we're going to discern it. And we did like any other man from this generation would do in discernment, which is that we sat around and we talked about it a whole lot, but we didn't actually do anything.
Perpetual discernment.
Perpetual
discernment. And then Jess said, oh, by the way, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And we did.
Pretty much.
So it was decided that the easiest thing for us to do was to put together a YouTube show. Now, this time we didn't have anything that we needed. We didn't have a camera. We didn't have editing software. We didn't have a set. But there was a way.
Yeah, there was a way.
All those things took care of themselves.
We found a way to get an economical camera and some camera equipment.
Mm-hmm. You guys can't see it, but we are still using our original lighting rig that Nate made with his own two hands.
We built some stuff out of scraps I had lying around. We also went. I'm the financial secretary for our Knights Council, and I happen to be in a position where I can actually get paid for some of the work I do, and so we took some of that we took some money from that, and went and purchased the editing software that we needed. Mm-hmm. And
I put the googly eyes on the lighting set.
She put the googly eyes on the lighting set.
It used to be really important because that's where we used to look.
That was where I needed to look, so that I wasn't looking directly at the camera, but I was also not looking just off the camera.
But then YouTube changed all the rules of how you do things, so we just wander in and look around.
There's a method to all the madness.
Yep. Then we realized it really isn't all that important about looking at the camera at all. So every once in a while, I make a point to look directly at the camera and then look away. But yeah, and the show and our settings and our equipment have evolved over time.
So We built our first set here in the library.
Shea Vanderclock. In the Biblioteca La Shea Vanderclock.
Just because I've always come here for Taco Tuesday, even though you're Dutch, I've always preferred Casa de Vanderclock.
Casa de Vanderclock, I like it. La Biblioteca de Casa de Vanderclock.
And since then we've we've experimented with different decorations of our set. We've acquired many new friends.
We got a really nice microphone that was provided for us by our sponsors at Quack Quack Honk Designs.
We were gifted the two popes, Saint John Paul II.
And
We had to provide all the dinosaurs ourselves.
And Pope Francis. By one of our loyal viewers and, well, technically family member.
Mm-hmm. Still a loyal viewer.
Still a loyal viewer.
Loyal viewer.
I will actually count him as a loyal viewer before that sounds harsh, but Kevin, you know I love you.
Jess, using her own crafting skills and ingenuity, made or modified our St. Moses the Black.
All of our little saints. So St. Moses the Black, St. Simon the Rock Johnson. Saint Stone Until Cold Stephen, and Saint Ignatius, Saint Ignacio,
Saint Nacho.
Yeah, That's right. That's what we called him.
Saint Nacho.
Saint Nacho, the premier Jesuit.
The first generation of Jesuits were awesome. I'm sure some of the later ones are still okay.
Yeah, and we've collected various. Tchotchkes and other items that we could go and put on display.
I just like following the rule that more is more.
More is more.
More is more. More is more.
More is more.
And
I feel like that needs to be like the slogan for some really poorly done PSA. More is more.
Do, 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 do. Learning and growing. But in the course of all of this wild ride and adventure, we have actually created a blessed object.
We have. We actually
we haven't so much as we told the deacon that we promised we wouldn't use it as an actual weapon.
Well,
and he said, "Okay, I'll bless it."
We are responsible for the existence of a blessed object.
Listen, I've seen people Shanghai him in the sacristy all the time. Yep. He will bless most anything.
Exactly.
Actually, in fairness, we have gotten many blessed objects. As we have like half a box of blessed stickers over there.
That's right. We still have the blessed.
We still have the blessed stickers.
Email us if you want a blessed sticker.
Yeah, sure. I will. Despite the cost of the current postal system.
We'll set up a Venmo or something.
Yeah. We can find a way to make this happen.
Exactly. But
we also created the 2x4 of truth.
We decided to make a physical representation of a metaphor.
Yep. For those of you who are not familiar with the 2x4 of truth.
Oh, you know the 2x4 of truth. You just don't know it by that name.
There might be some people who don't actually know it yet.
They've always been gooder.
Yeah.
They've always been gooder. For those of you who were not, for those of us who were not always good Catholics and then became gooder ones, many of us have encountered at some point in time in our lives when God just kind of sort of smacked us in the face.
Yep. Or the back of the head.
Or the back of the head. We had to be woken up, and we needed a good sharp thwack to get it.
My firm belief is that the Lord is as subtle with us as we allow him to be. Some people just need a nudge. Some people need a good smack with the 2x4 of truth.
And those of us who have recognized that sudden sharp thwack at the back of the head or right across the face, refer to it as the 2x4 of truth. It hit us, and in that moment, we suddenly saw things for what they were. It may have only been momentary, but we saw them for what they were, and we could never unsee that.
I once was blind, but now I see.
Yep. So, we, one summer, made a 2x4 of truth. I think it was actually, that was before, did we make it before COVID and then got it blessed during?
I'd have to look it up.
I think you started working on it before COVID.
I think you started working on it before.
It took a while to produce it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember I was still working at the one place before.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that is not important.
It's neither here nor there.
And then we got the deacon to bless it, because he'll bless anything.
Yep. Especially if you promise him icing.
Everybody has a price.
Everybody does. Remember to always live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.